So, what did you think? Let's rank this film on the Cageometer.
All right, that leads us over to the most important question. Vince, where does National Treasure Book of Secrets from 2007 rate on your Cageometer?
Oh, I'm going to shit on a lot of people's childhoods here. I'm sorry. I know a lot of people look at this movie with nostalgic eyes. I'm not one of them. I was 18 years old when this fucking movie came out, so I was a child, but not a kid. God, I don't want to be too harsh. I really want to give it a 4, but I'm going to be nice and give it a 5. Fucking copy paste the first film, change a few things. Normally that kind of works in Brockheimer movies. In this one, I don't really feel like it did, because we beat this fucking point to death, so I'll touch on it briefly. But it went from trying to clear his family name to then finding a fucking treasure that has no fucking reason to clear his family name. And they kill the only person that could actually clear his name by saying, yes, I falsified that document. So I just felt like
maybe that's, we were asking what happened to the other goons. Maybe they come forward and say,
they're not fucking smart enough to say that.
Maybe they would trade that information to be exonerated.
I mean, touche. We're giving them way too much credit here. So, yeah, I just feel like it didn't, for me, copy and pasting and making some changes, it didn't work for me. And the fact that the movie is as long as it is also kind of directed my opinion that this movie isn't as good as I think a lot of people remember it being. They should have tightened it up. They should have really kind of went back and probably did a second draft on the script to give a little more character development. I feel like we talked about like the tropes. They went through those old tropes, like like reset everything, relationship breaks up, blah, 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 blah. I feel like they would have just tightened stuff up and had a little more character development. The movie would have been a lot better. It's a kid's movie, whatever. I guess I can't be too critical of it, even though I am. So 5 for it. Cage. Oh man, I feel bad, but same. I'll give him a 5. It felt like a different character from the first one. Yeah. He went really cagey at moments that I don't really feel were necessary. And I told you, I enjoy cagey moments, and typically they bring me to enjoy the movie more. But in this one, because of the way the movie's set up, when he's stomping down those fucking stairs like he's in a Monty Python sketch, I actually started to cringe at how uncomfortable that fucking scene was. And not like an uncomfortable way to like make a scene, like just felt awful and off and out of place. And it kind of like, it really pulled me out of the movie, and not in a fun, enjoyable way where his over the top performances normally do. I really wish somebody would have told him like, hey, you need to probably go watch the first movie again and remember who the fuck Ben Gates is and play him like that again, because he didn't really feel the same. It felt kind of empty at times to me. He didn't really feel like he was bringing a lot to the character or trying to develop the character he created in the first film. So yeah. Both movie and Cage 5 out of 5 for me. Definitely not the worst movie we watched, but god damn how long it was definitely made this a little unbearable. Sorry, people.
All right, Nigel, where does Book of Secrets rate on your Cageometer?
Yeah, I don't have a problem being harsh on this movie. So I don't care if I'm shitting on people's childhoods more. I said, I think when we did the first one, I don't understand why people like that first movie either. Yeah. Like, and this is a worse version of that movie. I mean, we said it, it's just copy and paste the script from the first one and change things around, but make it worse somehow. And boring. Like, that was my biggest thing. Yeah. This movie is so boring. Like, it's just,
fair.
It's confusing. Like, all the plot points are confusing. All of the contrived bullshit that pops up as clues that Ben just figures out miraculously and to move the plot along don't make a lot of sense if you try to think about them and you're trying to play catch up. You know, maybe that's what we're supposed to think. Like, oh, Ben's just so smart that he gets all this stuff and none of it makes sense to us, but we just go along with the ride because he's a genius. But it's just more like taking liberties with history that don't make sense and adding things that never happened. I mean, just the fact that there's a pre-Columbian Olmec civilization that somehow moved up to South Dakota and built a city under the mountain that and Olmec was based out of like central Mexico originally. So, and they talk about the Blackfoot natives, but it has nothing to do with their art or anything like that. Like it's clearly like Mesoamerican art style and all this stuff. It's just like, why did you like you couldn't set it down there because that's not in America. So you have to set it in an American thing. And then they were like, had this half baked idea. And it's just none of the characters, progress. They don't have a character arc. I mean, they kind of do, but they sort of regress from where they were at the end of the first movie back to square one in this one, just so they could do the same arc almost all over again. And they're just grating, and their relationships are annoying. And then they interject like an old couple love story into it to rekindle their romance we don't care about. And it's just so long and tiresome and boring. So I give this a 3 because I gave the first one a 5. It's worse than that.
I bombed on this.
I was thinking I'd give it a 4 just because it's slightly worse than that, but I think it's much worse than the first one, because the first one I was at least a little entertained in parts, but this one just felt like it dragged me through this story that wasn't interesting and didn't have much reason to be 2 hours long, and where scenes just sort of felt like they just happened one after the other and not a natural progression. It's just, we're here and now we got to go here. And it's like, okay, I guess we got to go to Paris now. And I guess now we got to go to London just so this scene can happen. Yep. And Nick Cage can flip out on a banister and make crappy English impression stuff.
It's funny because he was so not cagey in the first movie.
I know.
Yeah. And he's so cagey in this movie.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah, I don't think there's any reason to watch this one, especially if you like the first one, because it's just the same thing over and over again. Just watch the first one and be done with it. This is just a more boring copy of the first one. So I can understand why the scores were fairly low. I don't understand why some of them were better than the first movie.
The Metacritic ones.
Yeah, but whatever. For Cage himself, I think I gave him a 5 in the first movie. I'll give him a 5 in this one as well. I think he does play a different version of the character for some reason. But I found myself enjoying him a little more than I did in the first movie. And I think it's because he gets to be cagey in some moments and kind of bring a little bit more life to Ben, who doesn't really have much of a character to begin with anyway, and doesn't really have one now. So it's just
a dial tone.
Yeah. And I think it's just, he gets to be a little bit more kooky and crazy and have some of those mannerisms brought out in it. But it's not a bad performance, but I don't think there was anything that memorable from it. Just kind of middle of the road for him on that standpoint. I don't think he made the movie any worse, and I don't think he made the movie any better. I just don't think it's a good movie. So he's kind of trapped in it, doing his thing. So
yeah. Wow, these. Yeah. On my Cageometer, I'm going to kind of split the difference between the two of you and give it a 4. It's not a good. I mean, it's just so like you said, like boring, convoluted, confusing, the exact same fucking movie again. I had seen this movie in 2007. I remembered not a single detail aside from the John Wilkes Booth Civil War. It was like related to Civil War somehow in the book that had something to do with John Wilkes Booth. But then it turned out it wasn't even that same fucking book. I didn't remember anything from this movie. And it's so forgettable that I just like spaced it out of my mind for 16 years, to the point where I was like reading stuff about National Treasure and people kept saying something about page 47. I was like, what the fuck are they talking about? Don't remember any of that stuff. I felt it. Yeah. Like you said, it was just like so many things, like the rekindling of the romance between Ben and Abigail and between Patrick and Emily was just like, oh God, we get it. Okay. They hate each other, but they really enjoyed adventure hunting together. So I guess that brings them back together after 32 years of absolutely despising each other to the point where they wouldn't even speak to each other.
Yeah.
But, little moment of Patrick swinging on a vine was enough for them to just rekindle that relationship completely. I don't know what else to say about it. The music was just, I don't even remember any of it. Cinematography was okay. It was National Treasure-esque. It was just the same movie again, and a shittier version of the same movie. So I'll give it a 4. I did find it enjoyable while I was breaking it down. I feel like it's a movie that's better if you have to analyze every fucking moment of it, like I do. But it's not a great movie at all, and pales in comparison to the first movie.
Yeah.
For Cage, I also gave him a 5. Same thing. Like, not the same character. Didn't feel like Ben Gates at all. Say different hair, different look, different mannerisms, different delivery of lines. He's very cagey, whereas the other guy was very straightforward and to the point. Had like maybe 2 cagey moments in the whole movie, and this one he had like 20 in the first 15 minutes. It felt like. So I don't know. He made it more interesting because of the cagey moments, but like it's not even the same character. So like, I don't know. 5, I feel like is fair. I feel like that's all I really got to say about this thing.
Patrick's just, I'm done.
Yeah. We don't need a part 3. We're done. We're good. We're out.
Nah, I want a part 3.
I kind of want a part 3 just so I can make fun of Riley Poole again.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, the part 3 could be good.
Yeah, I think part 3 would be a lot better.
I think there's enough to the premise of these characters and history and all that you can make a good movie out of it. I just don't.
But in both movies, they just made up history that didn't actually exist to make their story happen. So like, I feel like audiences nowadays might demand more than that.
No,
I do love the idea
so.
of older Ben Gates, like having to come out of retirement or something and figure out something. But if it ends up being some fucking quest for the Holy Grail, I'm out, dude. I'm out.
Yeah, I mean, you could have him play the Patrick role where he's got a kid who's a teenager or something.
Oh, please, God, no.
That's what they're going to do if they're going to do it.
Shoehorn Shia LaBeouf into the fucking movie.
Yeah.
Oh, my God, I'm in if it's Shia. Shia LaBeouf is his son.
Hey, there's a 40-year-old son you didn't know you had. Oh, wait, that's Lord of War 2.
Yeah, that's what's gonna happen. Yeah, no, I think that is that kid, the Nicky.
Yeah, it's Nicky.
The plan is going to be Nicky.
Yeah,
fucking the guy who plays Pennywise is going to.
How are they going to explain?
Oh, I thought it was going to be a son he didn't know he had.
No, it's supposed to be Nicky.
I think it's supposed to be Nicky. Yeah,
yeah.
I think.
How are they going to explain the fact that his wife left him, then went and married John Wick? That's what I want to see.
His wife died of AIDS a long time ago.
Yeah. That he gave her.
Because he gave it to her.